Manja, 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 nitese banja, banja, banja. Rest on my life, man. I'ma grind till I die. Ningene samovi manja, 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 nitese banja, banja, banja. Rest on my life, man. I'ma grind till I die. I'ma grind till I die. I'ma grind till I die. I'ma hustle till I die. I'ma grind till I die. No.
Natic. That's the persona that we've met. Was music something that was accepted in the home? What really struck you to say it's music that I want to do?
I started writing when I was 14. I had a lot of friends, bad company, so I wasn't really focusing on school. And I remember I had this conversation with my mom, and it's up to now, when I think about that, I know it's the conversation that changed my life. If we're talking about bad boys, did I waste time in school? I can't deny the fact that I've gone so far in school as well. So everything comes full circle. I had to do that to get here, and then everything just came and it tied in together. I made my own decision to say, you know what, I'm gonna do this and see how I can manage to do both of them.
Why would you say somebody should listen to your music, or what do you think makes people listen to your music? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time you'll be watching this particular session. Welcome to the Gift Kangele podcast. We have yet an exciting sit down, an amazing session. I'm always astounded by the amazing guests that we get to have. And this particular guest, I'm a fan of this particular guest. I'm a fan of his music. So it's going to be interesting to not only get to understand who he is, but also get a few, or even get to ask maybe about those particular lyrics that we never got the chance to understand, and also just understand the creative process. So today I'm joined by Natic. Natic, welcome to
the show. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you.
It's my pleasure.
A lot of us have been exposed to this individual, Natic. I don't think many people do even know your real names. I think all of us just know Natic. That's the persona that we've met. Maybe introduce us to another part of who you are. Who is the other person aside Natic, this phenomenal individual that we've known?
The funny thing is actually Natic are actually my initials.
Okay.
The EL is actually Emmanuel Lwipa, which are my names. So I'm Emmanuel Lwipa. I'm from the Copperbelt, born and raised in Kitwe. I'm a brother, I'm a son. I have a mom and dad still living, thank God. Okay. So that's who I am.
Now you just said the EL means Emmanuel Lwipa.
Yeah.
I mean, for a long time, probably a lot of us have been thinking maybe EL is maybe some Italian, maybe Spanish, like El Chapo, and those combinations.
It's actually, if you think about it, it's, I like to think of it like that because initially I didn't, but somebody came to me actually, and they were like, actually your name in Hebrew means God, El, like El Shaddai and stuff like that. So I like to think of it like that sometimes.
What did you make of that coincidence? Especially you said that you were not thinking of that when making your name, and then it turned out that way, to be associated to a God.
To that, I think even when you talk about what we do, right? Artists, like as an artist, you want to express yourself, but words are quite limited to how much you have in you to give out to the people, right? So most times you might say something, but you can hear it in a different way. So it's one of those things where it's like whatever I put out or what I say, somebody can interpret it in a different way, which is beautiful, because I might have been thinking like that subconsciously. I didn't even know, So yeah, it's beautiful.
Now, I would like to understand your upbringing, but maybe to just get a basic understanding. Do you think you've always been an artist growing up, or maybe you decided to do music because you were able to sing? You have a beautiful voice, because I understand not all of us can sing. Do you think it's in your creative process, like you just have that creativity in you, or is it because you found yourself being able to sing that you decided to do music?
I think I've always gravitated to music, even when I was a kid. I think I was very marveled by music. I remember when I was young, I could listen to music, like I could enjoy music, you know. But really, like, choosing a career in music, it actually was at an early age too, because I remember when I was like 12 years old, my brother was doing music. He was a rapper at that time. He was recording music. He did an album, you know. And I remember when he did that, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to my friends and I'm gonna tell them that I am like, you know, his name was Young, it was Vipak, so I was calling myself Young Vipak. You get my point? And I could rap his music to my friends. You know, that was when I was like 12 years. You know, but like picking it up as my own thing, that was like when I was 14. I was like, you know what, if he can do it, I can also like just do something with it. You know. But yeah, I would say it has always been a part of me. You know.
Now, I would like to understand your childhood, just so I know how exactly it was, and how exactly you came to pick up music, and like you said, you finally decided to make it your career at 14. So you growing up, maybe how was it like, your home? What do you?
It was interesting.
You said you grew up on the Copperbelt?
I grew up, on the Copperbelt.
Yeah, there have been so many amazing stories from the Copperbelt, and I believe this is just another one of them. So maybe if you would run us through you growing up on the Copperbelt, how it was like, maybe the challenges you faced, something you remember, the traits that you picked up.
Growing up in Copperbelt was interesting. You know, aside from Kangele, like you know, the games, I'm sure you know. You know, I come from a family, like, we are a lot, you know, like I have like 6 sisters and stuff. So it was amazing. Just like, you know, there were times where, like, when there's no electricity, obviously, I think, you know, it ties into the music as well. Like, we would just be outside, you know, playing games like in Konya Boys, you know. And at times we'll just be singing, you know, at home. Mom sings as well, so like we'll just be singing. It was an amazing experience, you know. And me personally, I used to switch between places, you know. I used to, like in holidays, like, you know, when we're done with school, I used to go to my auntie's place, you know, because there they had a lot of guys, you get my point. So we'd go there, would play the normal games that everybody, you know, used to play when they were young, you know. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience.
Was music something that was accepted in the home? Or?
Yeah, it was always accepted because, like I said, my mom does music. She was like singing in the choir at church, you know. So it was always a thing.
Would she carry you along?
I remember at a point we had like an overnight, and we wrote a song with her. I wrote a song with her, and you know, when we wrote it, it was like, let's perform it as a special song at church. You know, and that was like a long time ago. I think I was like maybe 15 or so. So it was accepted. Music was a thing. It has always been a thing.
At such a young age, you were able to write and perform a song.
I started writing when I was 14.
Wow.
That's when I started writing. You know, and
maybe let's get to this stage where you decide to do music. What was it that really, you know, challenged you to even begin contemplating or thinking between careers, or maybe between what to do, maybe even a hobby, or what really struck you to say it's music that I want to do?
I never said it was music. When I started, it wasn't this is my career, because obviously you know how it is where we come from. It's school, right? You want to be in school and your parents push you to be in school. It was the same thing with me. Like, they always emphasize school. You get my point? So obviously that was the most important thing. But music at that time, when we were growing up, remember that was the time of Mark II and Chef and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you can be in class, and if you're talking about bad boys, so whatever idea about it, you are at the back, and then they are beatboxing and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And you get, for us, I'm a rappers who be rapping. You get my point? Yeah. Whether it's my song, whether it's Chef's song.
Yeah, whatever song it is.
At first, it was just fun and it was a trend. You know, like if you're a rapper, you're cool. You know, so I didn't really like choose it as a career because, you know, school and stuff like that. I was looking at school. You know, yeah. So at most it was like more of another thing that I can do, but I haven't like really chosen it. Like this is what I'm gonna do with my life. Like it's just music, you know, which I wish I did at that time.
Okay.
I feel like if I did that, I would have blown up by now because I would have focused on that, you know, and I would have had time to really like enter the industry full time at a young age.
Do you regret that you never did that at a particular time?
It's mixed feelings.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've had so many opportunities in my life that I'm grateful for. I'm glad that my mom actually pushed me to go through school. I mean, look at me right now. I'm in Russia. I'm doing my master's right now. You know, so it's beautiful when I look at it like that. But then again, music is my love. Like it's what I love to do. Like I dream about music. I live my whole life is like there's nothing even special about me apart from music. You know, like that's what I love to do. So it's mixed feelings when I think about it. It's like, did I waste time in school? You know, I could have been focusing this. I could have been putting this energy in the music, and, you know, and it would have. I would have gone so far by now, you know. And also, I can't deny the fact that I've gone so far in school as well. So, I'm hoping everything comes full circle. I'm hoping I get to a point where I'm like, oh, I had to do that to get here, and then everything just came and it tied in together. I'm hoping it's like that.
Now, a lot of people may have just met this persona, Natic, the music side of you. But as we come to understand it, you did mining engineering, graduated, now doing your master's. Tell us about that. How were you able to find time, you know, to still keep the music alive, but at the same time pursue education and be able to even graduate, now even doing your master's?
So at first it wasn't like I'm gonna do two things. It was either or.
Okay.
So when I was like, I think when I was in grade 11 or 10, I remember I had this conversation with my mom because I had a lot of like, you know, friends, bad company, you know, so I wasn't really focusing on school. And I remember I had this conversation with my mom, and it's up to now, like when I think about that, I know it's the conversation that changed my life. You know, she sat me down and then she told me, she's like, look at yourself, look at your life, look at your family, look at the responsibility that you have, and look at the friends that you're hanging around with. Think about what you want to do with your life. Do you want to keep on going on like this, or do you want to pay attention, like give your attention to school and actually make something out of your life? You get my point? And obviously she said a lot of things, but the moral of the story was she was trying to wake me up. It's like, think about your life. And I remember that was the time, that was the day. I don't know what it was about that conversation, but it hit me in a different way. And that was the day I said, I'm gonna stop music and I'm gonna focus on school. So I think I was 16 and I stopped. I even told my friend I'm not gonna be doing music and all that. And I focused on school, you know, very committed, was studying almost every day. You know, we passed, we wrote the exams, we passed. You know, and I wasn't doing music from that time up until I came to Russia. I came to Russia in 2016, I think. 2016. Yeah, 2016.
Probably around that time,
Yeah, around that time. I wasn't doing music at all, you know, until maybe like 2 years after that. That's when I was like, you know what, at the end of the day, even though I'm not doing music professionally, this thing is in me, you know, and I could still write.
You can't just
I can't leave it, you know.
Close the gates. It was just burning.
I could still write songs. I could still do small videos on Facebook, you know, just like doing covers, you know. So I was like, you know what, let me see if I can do it again, you know. And I picked it up. That was like in 2019 probably. That's when I decided like, okay, this is gonna be professional now, you know. But it wasn't always like either or, you know. It wasn't always like this, like music and school at the same time. It was more like I have to choose, you know, until I made my own decision to say, you know what, I'm gonna do this and see how I can manage to do both of them, you know.
Now, has the education part of it been able to get into the music? Like, are you able to draw maybe inspiration, I don't know, whatever that it is that you can get from the school part of it into the music? Has there been situations like those where you get something from the school process into the music?
I think what education has done for me is it has more like made me more aware and more exposed, you know, and just like, I like to think of myself as not an ordinary artist, you know.
Got it.
I think about what I do, even the art that I put out, you know, and I feel like school, just being educated has helped me to really be even more professional, you know. So maybe if that's the inspiration that I've gotten from school, then yeah, it has.
Now, make us maybe understand your style of music. Where does that come from? No, there's just something unique, something different. Where does it come from? Would you maybe allude it to this coincidence of you being Natic, the creator, the god, or do you draw inspiration from somewhere? Is there something specific you can point to say, okay, this is why I draw my inspiration that really describes my music or shapes my style of music?
Yeah, I think I would say life. At best.
At best? Oh, okay.
At best, it's really life experiences, because like if you listen to my music, I'm usually talking about experiences, maybe mine, maybe other people's experiences, right? So I feel like life is my inspiration. Like life is where, like, that's the source where I get the things that I write about, you know. But also I would say God, you know. I don't think you can write anything without the help of a higher power. You get my point? Like, yes, you can write. Like, there've been songs that I've written that I know I was like thinking, you know, just trying to write something like I know how I want it to sound like. But at best, I know songs where like you get it and you're like, ooh, it just like rolled off, you know, like it just came from somewhere, you know. And I would say that's the higher power, you know. So
is there a practice for music?
What do you mean?
Like some routine, like they all have basketballers doing exercises. Is that something you do to maybe sharpen your music?
Definitely.
I don't know.
Definitely.
What is
practice? Practice, writing. You know, it's doing it every day. Like they say, practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah.
When you do something every day, it becomes better. You know, because I think. You can even see, like, you know, some artists, maybe the artists that you listen to, like, you can see the difference, you know, from when they started and from, you know, where they are right now. So I feel like it's practice, you know, making music every day, writing music every day, you know, it sharpens your pain, it sharpens, you know, the way you think, you know, in the music that you make at the end of the day, you know.
Why would you say somebody should listen to your music, or what do you think makes people listen to your music?
I think they relate. The people that listen to it, I think they relate to it because it's relatable music, right? It's something that would resonate to you, because I'm not talking about things that I'm not living. I'm not talking about anybody else's life. I'm talking about my experiences, and if I am a human being who feels and who breathes, I'm sure there's somebody who has gone through the same things that I'm going through, you know. So I think they relate, and I think it's relatable. It's something that's, you know, even if maybe what I'm saying is not exactly what you've been through, it's probably close, or maybe it might spark up some emotions that are familiar to you, you know. So yeah.
Now you've given us so many hit songs. I remember also this performance that you had done, almost, you know, made the entire room just start crying, and so I remember it was during the
people were crying.
It was during the book launch, and it's the song it's alright. I think it's alright, and there's just this certain emotion, you know, that comes with the song.
Yeah.
Is this your expectation maybe when creating, when writing music? Do you have maybe certain expectations as to what reactions people should have? Yeah.
Not really. Not maybe some songs, but mostly I don't have expectations of how I want people to receive it. Mainly because most of the music that I love and the music that I make and the music that I love to make, it's very personal music. Right? It's me actually trying to figure out what's going on in my head. You get my point? So I always say, like, it first heals you before it heals somebody else.
Okay.
So it starts with me, right? It's healing for me first. So I'm using it as more like a therapy session. So my main focus at that point is me. You get my point? Like the song that you talked about, It's Alright, right? If you listen to that song, I was sharing about the experience that my dad had. You know, my dad had, he was sick at a point. And I was trying to talk about how it made me feel, how it made my mom feel, how it made the family feel, you know. And I was speaking of it from a perspective of me who was far away, you know, and how it made me feel, the fact that I wasn't there when everything was going on, you know. And actually, when I was writing that song, I actually cried for real. Like, that's the song that I cried, you know. And so it's for me, first and foremost, you know, and then it reaches to the people and then they feel what they feel, which is amazing to know that you can actually affect people in that way, right? You know, but there are songs that are like bangers.
Yeah, for sure. Biggest
right?
Stepper is one
like
of them, for
Biggest
sure.
Stepper, right? Or like there's another song called Money.
Actually, there's also another one. I was actually surprised because I would see some. I saw certain people that I didn't expect to be singing songs or maybe even know the lyrics of certain songs, and they're just so off. And like, they're singing, and I'm like, where did you hear this song from? How come? Like, and I was just so surprised. Now I wanted to ask, because you can almost see this real connection to that people have to these particular songs. For example, It's Alright. And you can almost see that real actual reaction that they're having to the song. Would you say this is because you are speaking of something that is real, or is it just your ability to be able to drive people to that particular space?
I think it's both. Yeah, because I feel like being an artist is not just writing music and recording it. Like, it's also the delivery, right? How you deliver it to the people. Because, I mean, you can write a song, but if you don't give it out in the right way or with that energy, you know, that's why, like, every time I go on stage, like, I'm always nervous, right? But I understand that's because I care. I care about the fact that I want to give out a good show. So it makes me nervous. But there are some specific things that I do that prepare me. You know, like, I call them rituals, right? I have to always do them before I go there, because I know I have to get in a certain space so that when I am there, I can be able to connect to the people. So I'm conscious about that. So I would say it's both. It's the music, but it's also the performance. You know, I'm not just there, just, you know, like, I have to see you. You get my point? Like, there are times when, like, when I see you in the crowd and I see you, like, I see you, I can even point at you, I can even look you in your eyes, because I'm giving out an energy and you're bringing it back. And with that, we can feed off that energy, you know, and just create a whole amazing show.
Do you feel responsible for maybe your fans to a larger extent, in a way? Let's say for instance, this is the same song we were talking about, It's Alright. And actually the song I was referring to when I was talking about the show, where I was surprised. I think it's I Want to Have a Good Time. I don't know the title.
High School Crush.
But it's that particular song. So I was saying, do you feel responsible for your fans in a way that maybe whatever reaction they have to your songs, maybe it's your responsibility in a way, maybe to take care of them, or maybe to drive them to move them in certain regards? Do you feel that's so much responsibility for that?
I think it varies, right?
Okay.
I feel like a side of me wanna feel like, okay, I wanna grow as an artist. I wanna see how far I can go, and that's me as an artist, right? But you know, when you start hearing things like, your songs make me feel like this, you know, those messages that you get, you know, those messages that actually matter, right? When people write you direct and they tell you how your song made them feel, or how your song is actually a soundtrack to their lives, right? When you start hearing those things, you start feeling like you have a responsibility, right? Either to keep on making the same music, or just be conscious that you're not just making music for yourself, but people are actually listening, you know. So in that regard, I feel like I do feel the responsibility, you know, and again, I feel like it promotes growth as well, because it's like
longer the days,
when we used to make music for, like, just for me and my friends, right? Now people want to listen, you get my point? So that in itself is like, oh, it's not just about me, you know. I have to be aware of the fact that I need to not just be an example, but also, for lack of better terms, be a leader. You get my point? So, yeah.
Now, take us back to your first song. Do you remember that?
I do. The first one, you mean the first one professionally, or like the first song?
Maybe something you would regard as first.
Yeah.
In regards to putting you on this music trajectory.
Yeah, the song was called One Chance. It's still there on YouTube. It was a trial and error, because I had stopped doing music, like I said, right? And I was trying to see if I can do it again. So it was a thing of, you know what, I love J. Cole. And one of my favorite songs by him is Love Yours. So I was like, you know what, let me take his beat and just write something on it and see how it goes, right? When I wrote it, I was like, yeah, maybe I can see if I can take it to the studio. And, you know, I went to the studio, we released that song, and people liked it. I feel like, you know, the response, actually, I don't know if it's because, I mean, people never thought I could rap. So when they heard the song, you know, like, it's like, yeah, you get my point, even though it's not really like that good, but it gassed me. It was like, you know what, if they like it, probably there's something here.
I personally love the song, actually.
Yeah.
But is there something specific in the song Love Yours that you love?
Well, the song, Jeko song?
Yeah, the Jeko song.
Definitely. Definitely. When it just even the same thing, like Love Yours, like there's no such thing as a life that is better than yours. Like,
because I feel like we listen to music differently with you, the creators, and that's just the listeners. With you, you are paying attention to the beats, the what, everything. For me, it's maybe I'm just the worst listener or something, but usually it's just the melody, the music. So maybe were you also paying attention to all those details?
Yeah, I do pay attention every time I listen to music, you know. But particularly about that song, I just love it because it's a good song, and I feel like it's real music, like music that you can relate to, music that even when you're having a bad day, you listen to it can uplift you. You know, that's what I love about that song. You know,
how do you feel about fans who would rather take it personal, like? They're diehard fans. I think I would classify myself as such, right? To the extent, but I think sometimes we often, I don't know if you would go it too far, that we almost want to like regulate how you should do your music to an extent that maybe if we hear something maybe we don't like, we'll be like, no, you shouldn't do this, and so on and so forth. How do you feel about that? And do you find yourself trying to bend to these criticism, or do you feel like, do you take it like anyway? I don't care however you feel about it.
I definitely do.
I'm gonna do my thing.
I definitely do care, but this is what I'm gonna say. unpopular opinion, don't have role models. Don't put people on a pedestal.
Okay.
Because we are human beings. There's nothing special about Natic apart from the fact that I do music. At core, I'm a human being. Like I can make mistakes.
Is that you just being humble, or?
No, I'm not being humble at all. I always say this. Don't put me on a pedestal. Don't think I'm so perfect that I can't make mistakes. And let me just like take you a bit back, right? Before, like I made an album, right? I made an album and people say it's a gospel album, right? I'm sure if you listen to it, you think it's a gospel album.
Sure.
Yeah. But when you listen to the album, I did say a lot of things about how I don't look at myself as a gospel artist, right? But it was also because that album was healing to me, for example, right? I'm a Christian. I don't feel uncomfortable talking about God. And I'll make a gospel song today if I want. You get my point? But the fact that I did that album, a lot of people looked at me as a gospel artist. You get my point? So when I popped out and I was like, yo, let me talk to you about this. Let me make a song like High School Crush and stuff like that. I had people who DM me is like, I feel like your direction of music has changed. You get my point? And I'm like, but I did say, even when the album, go listen to it, I said I'm not a gospel artist. I want to make music that will uplift people, but that's not the only thing that I want to make. You get my point? I also want to make bangers. Like I also want to make music that will make people feel like dancing. You get my point? So I'm saying this to say, do not put people on a pedestal. Don't have so much expectation from somebody, because tomorrow they will disappoint you, you know, and then you'll be like, this and this and that. No, it's just a human being. And sometimes we are growing as people. Where I am today is not where I'm going to be tomorrow. The music I'm making today is not the music I'm going to be making tomorrow. And if it's growth, yes, it's good. Like that's what we want, right? We change, we grow as we change, right? But apart from that, enjoy the music. If you don't like the song that I put out today, the one that I'm going to put out tomorrow, probably you like it, you know, and it's just like that.
How then would you describe a real listener of your music or a true fan? How do we identify ourselves to say, okay, I'm a real fan of Natic? What would be something specific or unique about us? Because I should think your music has got a certain effect on people, and anything that has an effect on people definitely creates certain traits. How then would you describe a real listener of your music or a true fan? How do we identify ourselves to say, okay, I'm a real fan of Natic? What would be something specific or unique about us? Because I should think your music has got a certain effect on people, and anything that has an effect on people definitely creates certain traits.
I do feel like when it comes to my music, right, there's a particular niche that I have and the type of music that I love to make, that I feel like if you love my music, you know that type of music, you know.
Okay.
And that's how I get to know, like, those songs, because I know for sure that's the music that I'm going to be making. You know, even when I'm 50 and stuff, that's the music that I fell in love with. You know, but there's also music that I make. I'm an upcoming artist, right? I'm trying to get people to listen to my music. You know, and with that, there's music that I can make that I feel like, oh, they would relate to this. Like I want to relate to them. And then when I do get in that conversation with them, then I can be like, oh, come listen to this. Come listen to this other music that I have.
I actually felt attacked one time. I was listening to your music, and I was like, what is he saying?
Oh yeah,
because I'm usually slow to understand.
I wasn't talking about you though. Because you listen to the music that I love making. The music that you've commented on is music that I love making.
Because
so I wasn't talking to you.
I'm usually slow in listening to the music, so like I have to pause, maybe read, and then this is what he's saying, and then it catches up, and then I hear you say something. I'm gonna dumb it down for you, dumb it. So like, wow, it's just really got to
like the thing is, you really have to understand. And now I'm learning the business side of music.
Okay.
And I don't wanna sleep on that, because music is probably 75% business than it is just like being in the studio. Everybody can write a song, but can you sell that song to the people? That's where the business side of it comes in,
Right.
I don't want to look back and be like, I made all this good music and it was never heard. I don't want to be that person. So I'm in the field. I want to learn. What are they listening to?
Yeah.
What would they want me to do best, And that's me now getting to a conclusions like, so you like this type of music, right?
Yeah.
But you can also listen to this type of music that I'm making, but only if I'm famous, right? Okay. So I'll give you what you want. Let me go make the bangers. Let me go make the music that you want, so that we can get to relate. We can get in the same room. Now we have each other where we want to be, and we can have that conversation. And I definitely know they will listen to the music, because the music that I have in the vault is real music. And I know that people go through real stuff, and they need that. You get my point? It's necessary. It's needed. But I mean,
so you have the good stuff, only that people haven't yet discovered it yet. Yeah.
But they have. It's because it's there, right? It's just that it's there. Like even the album that I put out, like there's good music in there. You get my point?
Yeah.
But again, I also want to make this type of music that people can also like just vibe with, and but also not, obviously not diluting the message.
But how much of that temptation is there? Because what you see nowadays is where you have artists that are jumping on trains. So how much of temptation is there for you to jump on a trend and really forgo your actual craft? Like you forget your identity in music, so because you want to get people on board or to your side and just stay relevant.
I think to be honest, music is really hard, right? Music is a hard career to choose or whatever, and I feel like it's even harder for upcoming artists, right? That's why now the trends come in, because everybody wants to make it, right? So it only makes sense that let me jump on this wave and do this and do that. Maybe I'll get the same type of attention that everybody else is getting. But I feel like if you're trying to go international, right? If you're trying to be somebody that is going to last for a very long time, you really need to be straight with yourself, right? And understand yourself at the core, like who am I? Because once you know yourself, you can't go astray, right? Because you know who you are at the end of the day, and with that, I don't think if you're really aware of yourself and the music that you want to make, I don't think you can actually be a trend rider. You get my point? Like, because you get to understand that some of this music, they come today, they go. You get my point? Like, I've been making music, and there's so many music that have come since the time I started making music, right? There's so many genres of music that have come that I could do, right? Like if I want to do, I can do maybe a song, like a drill rap song, maybe I can jump on, the wave that's happening in Zambia and stuff like that. But it's like, how much of myself am I gonna lose when I do this? Like I know myself, right? I know the music that I love making. So how much of myself am I gonna lose by doing this that is gonna go tomorrow at the end of the day, But real music never dies. Like real music lasts forever, So you wanna be that person who's just like, do what you love to do, Even if it's the trend, right? If that's what you fell in love with, like when you started doing music, you found it when it was that type of music, and that's what you fell in love with. Then do that as well, because that's your music. That's I just feel like when you write and you change and stuff like that, like at the end of it, you become a clown, because it's like it's gonna go anyway. And music keeps on evolving, So yeah.
And I also think maybe as an artist, one should be able to create their own trends, not so?
I do believe in that.
And how do you feel about making it back home, like back home in Zambia? Because I think the popular thing there is vernacular, and you don't do much of that.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about making it back home in Zambia?
I think it's.
Are you ever concerned about that, or maybe your market is rather global?
No, like the music that I make, first and foremost, is live music, right?
Yeah.
It has no particular industry. Like when we start talking about industry, it's us as management really dumbing it down and saying like, oh, let's enter this, like let's do this, let's relate to this particular type of people, like demography, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to the music, everybody can listen to that music. You get my point?
Yeah.
So speaking about Zambia, for example, it's tricky because I know so many Zambians who listen to music in English. Like it's not really even about the vernacular, right? It's just that right now it's trending, right? Like it's been trending anyway. It's been trending, but what I'm saying is the music that's trending in Zambia right now is music that connects to the culture, right? And like language connects with culture. Like language is the driving force of culture. Like if we can understand each other and so that, you know, and all that. But when it comes to like making music in English, it's a tricky thing because everybody listens to that music. You get my point?
Yeah.
It's just that I don't know how I can explain it. I don't want to say something, but I do feel like sometimes it's just inferiority complex.
Okay.
I feel like sometimes we just like, we don't want to, I don't know, it's fear of self, I think. It's more of, I would rather listen to a J. Cole, or I would rather listen to a Jay-Z than listen to somebody who is my own person who's doing the same thing, maybe even better.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, yeah, it's fear of self and rejection of self, I feel like, which is tough for an artist who is making music in English, you know. That's why, like,
how do we solve this problem then? Is there a solution to it, or will it ever just be like that? Will it forever be just like that?
It's been like this for a very long time. Now it's better.
Okay.
Because I remember the time when there was a time when there was like crisis, right? He was the only person who was like doing music in English, right? And that time it was worse. Like people couldn't even listen to music in English, you know. There's people like Kamster and stuff like that. People like Critic. These people have been in the industry for a very long time. And at best it's like you don't really know them. Like they're there but they're not there, you know. But now we have like people like Natasha Chansa, for example. We have people like Killer, for example, who are being celebrated internationally. But if you think about it now, it's like it's now like translating locally, like, but it's starting from there.
From
you
outside,
get my point. And you talk about, for example, Sampa the Great as well. You get my point. She's accepted internationally, and because of that, it's translating locally, right? I don't think if she was just like in Zambia and she was doing what she was doing, she would have been accepted the way she is accepted. So I'm saying that to say it's getting better, you know, and I do feel like being outside is an advantage. It's an advantage because, like I talked about, we connect more to what is
coming
far
from the outside.
So
really
it's like when you come like from afar, it's like, who is it? Oh, he's Zambian.
Now people are curious to find out.
People are curious, you know. So it's definitely getting better.
Now,
definitely getting better.
I would love us to get to discuss your work, but maybe before we get to that, your decision to do music in English rather than vernac, is it because you find it easy to express yourself in English as compared to vernacular? Or
no, not really. I actually, when I started, I was actually writing in Bemba.
Okay.
Back then, when I was 14, I started writing in English because the people you listen to influence you, right?
Yeah.
I was listening to a lot of J. Cole and stuff like that, and it translated, you know, and it's not really a matter of is it easy, because I do write. I do write in Bemba as well. It's just a language.
Okay.
At the end of the day, like it's just a language, and if I prefer to write in English, doesn't mean I can't write in Bemba. You know, it's just a language, and it relates well to the international scene, right? Like, and I'm not saying that you can only blow internationally when you're like making music in English. Like we have music like Amapiano.
And all
people don't even understand music. Like it goes beyond language and stuff, but you know, it also helps. You know, it helps.
Now, I think we should have put a disclaimer or warned our viewers that this was going to be rather an intimate conversation, and I should also apologize to them that in the session maybe I may be biased a bit or maybe selfish because I'll be more interested in your work, in the work that you have out there that I love. So you see me trying to probe the music that I've fallen in love with. But I would love us to talk about your work in general, because I think you have got so many amazing songs out there. You've made us sing, you've made us dance, you've turned some of us even into rappers when we were known. Now, I think the album, is it Tells and
Eyes Tell Stories.
Eyes Tells Stories. Yeah. Now, was that your first studio album or second?
Yeah,
I think because the first one was EP.
The first one was an EP.
Was an EP.
Yeah, that was my first studio
run
album.
us through the EP. Maybe on the EP, which one would you say was your favorite song?
It's Alright.
It's Alright was your favorite on the EP?
On the EP, not the album.
On the EP, yeah. Okay, so the EP, the writing process, run us through that. Like, what was this moment in your life? Because you talked about you drawing inspiration from...
It was a very spiritual time.
Okay.
Very spiritual time in my life. Yeah, I was very, very in tune with what I thought was spirituality at that time. Yeah. Right? I was very, very in tune, and the music that I made in that period was... It was birthed through that. You know, it was very conscious music, very spiritual music, very uplifting music. You know, yeah, that was the time. It was an amazing time.
Now we move from the EP and then we go to...
We're going to the shenanigans. We live life. We go into the life.
And then we just go into this
yeah,
album.
like I feel like everybody grows, right?
Yeah.
And me personally, I see myself as somebody who learns from... I'm not the type of person
Was that
who,
also the same transition from your EP to your album? Was it also the same transition in your life?
It wasn't.
It wasn't? Oh.
It wasn't all that... how can I say it? Me, I learn from... I'm not the type of person who will sit and then you tell me, do this, do that, do that. Then I'll pick up from that. I don't. Yeah. I have to make some errors somewhere. Like I have to go out and live life. You know, that's why like right now I can't release an album because I'm still living life. Okay. After my album, I'm still going through things. I'm still, you know, trying to understand what life is all about. Yeah. When I do feel like, oh, now it's time to let all these things that I've learned on like in music, then I'll do that. I'll release an album. It might take 2 years, might take 3 years. But from finally free, so many things happened, you know, and it was an interesting time because I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about people. I learned a lot about God, spirituality, right? And I decided to make an album, you know, and I decided to put everything that I learned in that album. You know, all the lessons. You know.
Are you always that observant? Should we be worried to be around?
Very, very worried.
That before before we know it, we'll be talked about in a song.
The people that are close to me are worried.
Oh, okay.
They are worried. Not worried, like in a laughing way, right?
Okay,
like, like, you know, that sometimes we'll be talking about something, it's like, don't write a song about me. Because I'm that type of person, I'll write it, you know, because that's how I analyze things, right? Analyze them on paper, you know.
Now, the album was massive. You had great people on board. You worked with Tilo, biggest stepper,
amazing experience.
by far the anthem, especially in Russia. It's just massive. Now, even maybe before we get to some of the biggest project that you had on the album, you also did I think a cover song for some film.
Oh yeah, we did.
Maybe you can tell us about that one.
Yeah, so a producer friend of mine in Zambia actually called me and is like, there's this guy that I know in India and they're doing a movie and they want a soundtrack. You know, so I told him, like, I have a rapper friend who can actually make a song for you. You know, and he gave me the opportunity and I made the song. We made the song, we sent it to them. It was like a year. We even forgot about it. You know, then after a year, the same friend of mine in Zambia called me and he was like, this guy is trying to get in contact with you. You know, I got in contact with the guy. He told me, oh, we're trying to put out the movie and stuff like that. So I wanted your details, you know, just like to put out the music so that you can show that it's your music, you know. And it happened, you know. It was an amazing experience.
Now, there was something different about this Indian movie. Is it because you are brought on board or what? Because usually when we talk about Indian action movies, you're expecting those slow things, somebody comes from but this one was somewhat real action.
They actually told me, like, it's an action movie. So even the song that you're making, it should show that type of, you know, aggressiveness. You get my point? So it was different,
maybe because you were on board. Maybe
no, it wasn't because of me. It wasn't because of me. They had that idea. They just like brought me on board.
Okay, now we get to the album. Biggest Stepper almost overshadows everything. But I know there are very amazing song on the same album as well.
Many amazing.
What was the creative process through this, and also how big was the team you had on board?
I had a very big team.
Maybe you can run us through the creating of the album.
I had the music because, like I said, like when I was living life and stuff, like I was writing music, right? So I had the music.
But maybe firstly, why Eyes Tell Stories?
Oh, why Eyes Tell Stories? So initially supposed to read Eyes Tell Stories.
I've just thought of it, like Eyes Tell Stories.
Eyes Tell Stories. Like when you look into somebody's eyes, you would know the truth. Because eyes tell stories.
And that's super creative, man.
So that was the whole idea that we had. You know, but I also wanted to make it like it's supposed to read Eyes Tell Stories as in tell, telling somebody, right? But we put tell as in stories, right? Because the whole album is about stories. So you know, we wanted to put out like that creative switch. So you asked me about the team, right? I had a lot of music, right? And but I okay, we're gonna put out an album, you know. And I was talking to my friend, and he was like, you know what, we can put out your album on my record label, you know, which is Axam Music, Boz Zambia. That's his record label. You know, it's like, you know what, we can do it. Let's do it, you know. So we had a team. We had Axam. I had my own management team, you know, and we worked together to put out a really, really amazing project, you know. And everybody was invested. Everybody wanted to make it a success. I think I did say this because we did an interview like before the album dropped, you know, and I did say this, and I said like, the only excitement that I'm gonna have about this album is hearing the people that put in every effort, you know, just get the fruits of their labor and just feel like we are satisfied about this project that we worked so hard to put out, you know. But
why do you think you need a management team? I mean, you're educated.
I'm a professional artist. I need a management team. No, it's not even about that. I just feel like you can't do everything alone. You can't do. I can't write music, you know, pick beats, talk to people, you know.
That do you feel that limits your talent in a way?
No.
If you don't have a team around you?
No. As an artist, you need to have people around you that will do some things that, because if I was to be honest with you, I'm supposed to be in the studio 24/7.
Okay.
That's now the thing that limits my artistry ability, right? Because I mean, I have work, I have school right now, right? So I can't do that. I don't have the privilege to do that. But if I had that chance, I would be in the studio the whole day making music. If I make 10 songs in one day, well and good. You get my point? Because that's my job. I'm an artist. I'm supposed to be writing every day. You get my point? So I can't do that and still take care of business at the same time. You know, I can't do that and still, you know, take care of my branding, my marketing and stuff like that. So you need a marketing team. Now, in fact, you need a very
big team. Yeah,
very big.
Now you've worked with some big names. One of them being Tilo. Maybe tell us, run us through the process of working with these individuals, and are there some people that you are looking forward to work with?
Tilo is an amazing person. He's an amazing person. Apart from his music being so amazing, at heart, at the core, is a real human being. You know, and this whole project, even the video, he's made it easier. He's made it so easy for us to really do, you know, what we did, you know.
What did it take to get him on board? Or is it...
Manager, boss.
or maybe is it a situation of great recognizes great, would you say?
No, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. It was through boss.
But I don't think you could have had him on board if you didn't have the talent, would you?
No, I get it. But what I'm trying to say is boss made the call, right? And then we sent him the music. Then he loved the music, right? So initially it wasn't because he saw me, right? It was through boss. And then when he saw the music, he was like, this is good music, let me jump on it. So he jumped on it, you know. And amazing enough, throughout the whole process, I got to know him at a personal level, right? At a very deep level, right? And I'm grateful to that. Like, you know, I would talk about the video when we're doing the video. I always say it was what do you call it? It was a learning session. It was like, you know, because even when we're on the set, I was just like talking to him, like, you know, having a conversation. I learned a lot, you know. An amazing.
What is the one thing that you would say he said to you that you think you would never forget? Was there such moments?
Is there a particular thing that he said to me? He did tell me to try to do more features with big artists. I do remember that he told me that. You know, he told me like right now where you are, like you need to get in.
Are you looking to do that?
Yeah, I'm looking to do that, you know.
Should we be expecting even bigger projects?
Definitely.
Because yes, you kept us waiting. Like we had to wait for Biggest Stepper. Like we really had to wait for the video especially.
You see, that's where now as people we need to see, because outside people can see, right? But right? At best, I'm not a celebrity, right? I'm just a human being. I'm just like right? So now when you get to see the process that it took us to actually do that, right? You get to see that this is real life. You see the process and you get to appreciate the work, right? So I understand if we had everything that we needed, we could have done it in 2 weeks, right? But that's when now you get to appreciate the fact that also these people are actually working, and it's not just they're working for what they have, you know, and they put in so much. Like I just didn't want to wait for like 5 months. I could have put it out a long time ago, but I had to work for it. I had to do everything that was necessary and to put out the project, you know, which came out and it was amazing.
We love the music. We love the music. Trust me, like it was just amazing, and watching it was worth the wait.
It was worth the wait.
Now, I also noticed that there's a certain tag which you use now, like the title of the song itself, Biggest Stepper.
Biggest Stepper.
Is that a brand, or I think you call yourself. I think I was reading a comment. Funny enough, somebody was saying, "Now when I see gorillas, I'm thinking of you." So what's that about? Is that a brand?
It's strategic. I just don't do it from without.
Okay.
I'm trying to build an identity, right?
Okay.
Something you can connect me with, right? Like, for example, when you think about Mr. Kangele, you think about morality.
Yeah.
You think about uprightness, right? You think about somebody who is very in tune with themselves and life and all that stuff. I'm trying to build something that people would relate me to, right? If you talk about biggest stepper, right? It's something that's telling you to, like, when I say I'm a biggest stepper, all I'm trying to tell you is that I stand on my business. Like, when I come, I'm doing what I said I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put in my level best. Like, I'm not just King Kong, right? I'm ruling, right? I'm leading. You get my point? So now the whole gorilla thing ties in because it's the spirit animal for the stepper, right? Like, it's the biggest stepper, right? It just makes sense, right? Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
Wow, biggest stepper is the title of the song. The people's favorite.
Funny thing is, when I wrote the biggest stepper song, I didn't come up with all these biggest stepper, whatever. But the song, when it came, it actually made sense to say, okay, you know what? Let's brand it like this. Let's just take it the way.
The song just has this certain aura to it. Like, you really feel like you are the biggest.
Which you are. Everybody's the biggest stepper. So long as you're standing on your business, you're doing what you said you're gonna do. You're working on your things. Making things work. You're a biggest stepper for real.
Yeah. What should we be expecting from Natic? What's currently underway? Do we have any projects that are being worked on?
Definitely.
Should we be expecting more features?
Definitely.
Are we expecting more, even bigger songs than biggest stepper?
Definitely.
Is
I
that
feel
the
like
standard now?
Yeah, it is the standard. Management. It is the standard. It is the standard, definitely. And we're trying to work on that. More music is coming, definitely. More features, and we are coming not to, at best, we are coming to say we exist, and we can exist like this, and more like when you get to a place, right? Your presence is noticed and is seen. Not from a perspective of we are coming to bootlick or we are coming to, try to praise people so that we can get in the thing. Like, we believe we have what it takes to just come and just show you the work and say, like, okay, this is the music we are bringing to the table, and it's real music, and you can relate to it. So it's definitely going to take a long time for us to get there, but that's the attitude that we have. We're coming to take over.
Are there specific artists that you are targeting, or are you looking maybe for partners to come on board, or in what way can people come on board in terms of collaborating with Natic and the brand? Are there maybe platforms that they can get on? Because at the end of the day, like, in a way, you want some sort of association with Natic, because we understand this great artistry and the great style of music, and somehow you want to associate yourself with this persona. So are there ways in which they can maybe collaborate with you and things like that?
Definitely. Obviously, social media being the way you can get in contact with me. My management team, obviously, but
I asked that because I also saw that you were doing is it you were a model for some brand, I should think, or so maybe
anyway, like,
can maybe, are you open to be an ambassador for some brand? Are you open for such
yeah,
deals?
If it's something that is like, in connection with what I do, and not just what I do, but who I am as a person. Obviously not Kubrezas.
Okay.
Sorry.
no, it's all right.
Yeah, but if it's something that is, stands, they stand for what I stand for, definitely, I'm not saying I'm a model, and I'm also not saying I can't do it, because I feel like I have the body for it, I have the height for it, I have the taste as far as clothing is concerned, so I can do that, but it really has to be something that I feel like I can relate to, and I can actually do it, not just any other thing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Now, as we wrap up the conversation, we'll get into a segment which I call morality trivia.
Oh.
Now, it's rather a basic question, but sometimes it may have some layers to it. So maybe if you could take your time and just ponder on it, because you may be taken for it and say we had Natic say this.
So you're trying to trick me.
it's not really a trap per se, but it's just to get your opinion on it, and and just to hear what you think about it.
Let's see how it goes.
Now, is it ethical for is it ethical for artists to engage in self censorship in terms of their music to provoke a reaction from the people? Is it ethical for artists to engage in self-censorship to evoke a certain reaction from people?
A good or bad, or just any type of reaction?
Any type of reaction.
I would say yes and no.
Okay.
I would say it depends on what type of an artist you are. There are artists that whenever they come, they get people talking, and some of those conversations are needed.
Yeah.
You get my point?
Yeah.
If you are that type of artist, I think you can do that to spark up some conversations, some reactions, but there are also artists who speak for the people, right? Like their main gift is to speak to the people, right? I feel like if that's your case, then just
maybe maybe usually it's just one question, but now maybe we'll make it two. Do you think it's okay, or what's your stance on the idea of artists using their music to voice out on political and social issues? What's your take on that? Do you also see yourself actively using your music to speak on political and social issues, or are you just going to keep it social and not really be? I
feel like it still goes back to the fact, what type of an artist are you? There are people who are voices, like they have that power. Like for example, Pilato, right? Yeah. He was an artist. I don't know.
But
if
people would argue that Pilato is now quiet. Like
exactly my point. But he used music as a medium to voice out what he has inside. So maybe he's not quiet. Maybe he's just using another medium right now, right? So I feel like it depends. If you have no business doing that as an artist, if that's not your calling, just don't do it.
Okay.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like we need that. Like we need people who speak up for the people.
Now, lastly, as we wrap up this conversation, we would have loved to go on and on. I'm even wondering. I think we should have gone in for rather a very long time. Maybe a message to somebody who maybe at the moment is aspiring to be Natic. Let's say young Natic. What message would you have for young Natic today?
I would say take your time to go through life in your own way, learn everything that you have to learn. Just take life as it comes. As far as music is concerned, if you want to be an artist, keep writing the music that you love to write, but also be conscious of, just your world around you, because you want to connect to people, you don't want to make trash music. So know yourself, do your homework as well. I'm also learning as well, so let's learn together.
No, it's been a pleasure to have you. And for the people that may be wondering, actually you should check out Natic. I think to even appreciate your story even more, and your artistry, your body of work that you have out there, because especially this particular album, I hope you'll be able to come across it gradually, because there's just so many music out there.
Sorry to cut you short. I do feel like the music that I'm making right now is it's lifetime music, right? And I do feel like even when I blow up, when I blow up, and the next whatever, if it takes me 2, 3, 4 years, people will go back to this music and they'll still relate, because it's music that is relevant. So I don't put a time limit on it. I know it's still gonna live, and people will find it. They'll find it where it is. So
No, that has been Natic. It's been awesome to have you on the show. To those that have been watching us, unfortunately we have to wrap up the conversation. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, it's bye-bye from us.
Thank you.